I've already told you this street is closed. You are trespassing.
These documents confirm the blockade is illegal.
You have 48 hours to comply. This is unacceptable.
The first time I saw the padlock, my coffee almost slipped right out of my hand. It was early, cold air biting my face, the street lamp still humming. A thick silver chain wrapped around the only entrance to our Cul De Sac, locked tight to a brand new steel post. My headlights bounced off the metal, throwing little flashes across the wet asphalt. Behind me, my neighbor's minivan idled, kids in the back already late for school. I rolled down my window and yelled that the road was blocked. She just stared at the lock, then at me, like maybe this was my fault. That was the exact moment my quiet suburb stopped feeling safe and started feeling like a trap. By 7:15 a.m. the group chat was going crazy. No one could get out except the one house that backed onto the main road. That house belonged to Karen, our HOA president. Of course. She finally strutted out in her robe, phone in hand, pointing at a laminated sign zip-tied to the post. Road closed for safety enforcement. She said the board approved it and we should plan around it. I asked how we were supposed to get an ambulance in, or even a pizza. She shrugged and said real residents follow the rules. Our whole mess could fit in one line: HOA Padlocked the Cul De Sac entrance for 48 hours, then I pulled the lien. I laughed when I said it. She didn't. I tried to be civil. I really did. I emailed the board that same morning, calm, no sarcasm, asking for the vote records and the permit. No one replied. I called the management company. Voicemail. That evening, at 6:30 p.m., we had an emergency HOA meeting in the tiny clubhouse. Half the neighborhood stood along the walls because there weren't enough chairs. Karen sat up front like a queen, flanked by two board members who looked like they wanted to melt into the folding chairs. When I asked again about permits, she said the board has decided, and that was it. A neighbor later whispered that she wanted to speak up, but she was already on her second violation and couldn't risk another $300 fine. Fear hung in that room thicker than the cheap air freshener. That night, lying awake at 1:00 a.m., listening to a distant siren and staring at my ceiling, I hit my line in the sand. No more begging. Only proper channels. No yelling. No cutting locks. Just law and paper. The next morning I opened a fresh notebook. On the first page I wrote, Timeline Item 1 April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. Because yes, she had called the cops on my brother when he visited and parked on the curb. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. I started building the pattern. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I pulled security camera screenshots showing the padlock, timestamps of blocked Amazon trucks, even my neighbor crying when her grocery delivery refused to come in. I printed Karen's smug newsletter about enhanced perimeter control and slid that in too. Every page made my hands shake a little less. Then I went to City Hall. The clerk there had that tired, seen-it-all look. I asked for any traffic and safety complaints about our street, any permits for a gate, and any open cases on our HOA. She typed for a long time, then disappeared into a back room. When she came back, she was pushing a thick brown folder. At City Hall, when the clerk dropped the HOA enforcement file on the counter, the file landed with 63 pages. My eyebrows went straight up. Inside were letters warning the HOA not to obstruct emergency access, notices about previous fines, and a very clear line stating that any repeat violation could trigger a lien against the responsible party. Not the whole neighborhood. The responsible party. I asked who that was. She turned the monitor slightly. The screen showed the name of our HOA president. I walked out of there with copies, my binder heavier and my anger colder. The padlock had been on for almost 2 full days when everything flipped. It was Saturday, 9:00 a.m., bright sun, kids with bikes staring at the chain like it was a dragon guarding treasure. Karen had called a members-only security walkthrough and was marching around in a neon vest. Right on cue, a fire truck rolled up to the entrance and stopped. Behind it, a city inspector's sedan and a police cruiser. Phones came out faster than you can say viral. The fire captain got out, looked at the padlock, then at Karen. He asked who authorized blocking a public right-of-way. She tried to claim it was private. The inspector held up a map and said, "Nope, this is dedicated access for emergency vehicles." He read aloud parts of the city code. The cop just leaned on the cruiser, watching. When they ordered the lock cut, Karen tried to stand in front of it. That was when the inspectors served her with a bright orange notice, loud enough for every camera to hear: repeated violations, personal liability, and pending lien action. The fallout moved fast. There was a special HOA meeting 2 weeks later, on May 3, 2024, at 7:00 p.m. This time, I wasn't just the angry guy in the back. I had my binder, the city's notice, and a letter from the HOA attorney saying the board could vote to assign the city fines and legal costs directly to the president's lot and authorize a lien if she didn't pay. I flipped the binder around and let my neighbors skim the highlights. 9 police complaints, all traced back to Karen. Photos of trucks turned away. Copies of city warnings. People who had been scared before were now furious. When it came time to vote, hands went up all over the room. The motion passed to remove her as president and to direct the attorney to file the lien for $23,000 in fines and fees against her property if she didn't pay within 30 days. She stormed out while 3 different phones followed her, catching every stump. In the end, the padlock was gone, the post was cut down, and the Cul De Sac entrance sat open and boring again. Karen's house went up for sale that summer, the listing awkwardly quiet about motivated seller. We later heard the lien did get recorded when she tried to close, and she had to settle every dollar just to get out. The new owners brought cookies to the block, not violation notices. Kids raced scooters through the entrance without a second glance, and delivery drivers finally stopped calling me from the main road in a panic. Sometimes, when I walk past the spot where that padlock once hung, I still feel a little chill, but it's not fear anymore. It's relief. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.